Well, so we're here to see and discuss the push heard around the world. As we see on the screen, let's take a look at it. So clearly, we see Angel Reese gets a rebound, going up for a lay, and Caitlin Clark comes from behind her and fouls her and then pushes her to the ground. And anybody that tells you differently is weird and can't see. Now, is it a big deal that she fouled her and pushed her to the ground? No, it's not. They're two basketball players. It's not a big deal. But is that what happened? Yes. Did Caitlin push that girl in the back? Yes. Was it a flagrant? Maybe. Regular season? Sure. Flagrant one. Play ball. But you know good and well when it's between these two, that doesn't that's never it. The play is never it. The game is never it. You know it's never going to end there. So then we have RG of three. Let me get here. Because doesn't he say something about how she always hated Caleb. And first off, before we even play the video, we see, what he types. Angel Reese hates Caitlin Clark. Is staring us, us all right in the face, but people are afraid to say it. Won't answer questions about Caitlin Clark. Gets mad when people praise Caitlin Clark for the explosion of popularity around women's basketball. Celebrates when her teammates flagrant foul Caitlin Clark. Goes after and tries to punch Caitlin Clark after a routine make them earn it foul after Angel Reese fouled Leah Boston with a push in the back that wasn't called. That was a little bit more than a make them earn a foul, but okay. That's not just hate, that's jealousy and resentment. Some people get uncomfortable when you say Angel Reese hates or is jealous of Caitlin Clark because of the complex racial history of America and the historical stereotypes of the angry or jealous black woman. I understand that Angel Reese isn't just some jealous black woman. Angel is an NCAA champion and great basketball player. She's a competitor who has shown that she doesn't like how Caitlin Clark is crowned when she's criticized for showing the same confidence and fire in her own way. That's not an assumption. That's what Angel Reese has said and shown us all. And yeah, that can turn into hate, jealousy, and resentment. That's what makes this rivalry so real to a lot of viewers. Caitlin Clark is the most popular athlete in America, and Angel Reese is the Isaiah Thomas to Caitlin Clark's Michael Jordan. That's what will continue to raise the popularity of the WNBA. People care about rivalries. Rivalries aren't built on handshakes. They're forged in fire, fouls, and pride. Angel Reese wants to beat and outshine Caitlin Clark. Angel Reese has said she is the villain. That is sports. That's the game. Angel Reese has beat Caitlin Clark, but never outshined her. Even when Angel won the national title, the First Lady wanted to see her and Caitlin Clark at the White House. Over time, the hate and resentment has built up from all this. You can see it in her overreaction to the routine basketball foul. I'm just not afraid to say it. Now, my problem though is I don't know if it's jealousy and hate when you also already acknowledge the inconsistencies in the behavior and praise towards both of them, right? So, for example, that LSU Iowa game, everybody knows the winner goes to the White House. Why are you inviting the loser when I'm going and I want to chip? You know what I'm saying? Now, you can say that's hate or jealousy, or maybe that's just a black woman acknowledging and seeing white privilege right in front of her face and doesn't want to accept that as the norm. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. To me, I don't feel like she's completely wrong in that emotion and or thought. Why is it that Caitlin Clark is just crowned, the reason why the game is being more popularized throughout the nation and the world when Angel Reese is clearly right there being a heavy influencer. People, and fans come to, enjoy the W. It's not like she doesn't have like a say in that. To me, it's more jealousy and or resentment if you're mad kind of for no reason or there's really no stake to your claim. There's no like evidence you can provide to back up a frustration, right? But when a black person points out an inconsistency that's been staring them in the face, I don't think that's jealousy. I just think that's calling out an inconsistency and not liking that. But again, that is my viewpoint on that. He views it as jealousy and resentment. Let's see what he said in the clip here.
Where was this type of reaction last year when Angel Reese got chokeslammed by Alyssa Thomas of the Connecticut Sun? Y'all remember that? She got fouled so hard, they kicked Aaliyah Thomas out the game with a flagrant 2 foul. What did Angel Reese do? Nothing. She didn't get up and try to swing on her. You know why? The reaction was different because of who did it. And there is a lot of history there with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. You guys remember last year when Angel Reese celebrated
Again, even if that's true, if I do have a that's normal actually. Yeah, that's a false equivalency. That is normal for people when you are going to react differently to somebody you already have previous tension with than another person because you already have history of tension there. So again, I'm not really following. Is that what Is that rooted in the hatred and jealousy? Is that what he's saying?
Kennedy Carter getting that flagrant foul on the hip check against Caitlin Clark? You remember that? On the sideline, just, yeah, baby, get her, you get her. Who celebrates like that for a flagrant foul on another player if they don't dislike that player? Okay, you want some more evidence? Here's some more evidence. Remember last year when they were talking about who gets the credit for the expansion and the eyeballs and the popularity boost of women's basketball? Not just the WNBA, but women's basketball in general, because of the spike in the women's NCAA tournament and WNBA viewership. A lot of people were attributing that to Caitlin Clark, and rightfully so. This is what Angel Reese had to say, and I quote, "People are talking about women's basketball. You never would think they'd be talking about women's basketball. People are pulling up to the games. We got celebrities coming to the games, sold out arenas just because of one single game. Just looking at that, I'll take that role. I'll take the bad guy role, and I'll continue to take that on to be that for my teammates. I know I'll go down in history. I'll look back in 20 years and be like, the reason we're watching women's basketball is not just because of one person, it's because of me too. I want y'all to realize that." Now, I heard a lot of people.
But again, that dislike isn't necessarily just from the other person, it's from the people talking about the sport. It's the issue isn't necessarily even in that statement that he just read the angel made. The issue isn't Caitlyn, it's the coverage of the sport and how the story's being written. That's the problem. It's not Caitlyn in it like of herself per se. It's the narrative being spun and the story being written that hey, Caitlyn is obviously the spearhead of the popularity. I think everybody acknowledges that. Even Angel Reese. I think everybody acknowledges that. But there are some other big players. That's really it. And they just want to like feel acknowledged. And I don't find that to be jealousy and resentment. I really don't. I really don't. Because the stories are going to be written by other people who aren't even the characters in the story. So there are different narratives going around about the people, and whichever narrative and point of view you have is going to write the story. So I don't blame a character in the story being written saying, "Hey, make sure you pointing this out. Make sure you saying that. What about what I'm doing over here?" We can't just dismiss that. And again, yes, there are going to be main figureheads of any kind of movement or wave of popularity. Like everybody knows that. But those other people aren't to be ignored. And again, I think when you have a very legitimate gripe and a very legitimate case to prove what you're saying isn't just nonsense. Like Angel Reese, I think we all know also that Angel Reese is one of the main figures in the W in women's sports, period. Not just WNBA, just women's athletics. She's one of the biggest and well-known faces. She's on the cover of cereals and has how many brand deals? She had a McDonald's deal. This ain't no who is this lady? Like we know who Angel Reese is. She's definitely pushing the game forward. So her wanting that acknowledgement is not jealousy. You're just comfortable with what the story is already. So anybody that interrupts that kind of narrative for you, you view as interrupting and or bad and then have to root that into jealousy or resentment. No, it's just their set of the story. Let me put it like this. The new GOAT conversation is always just Michael Jordan, LeBron, Michael Jordan, LeBron, Michael Jordan, LeBron, Michael Jordan, LeBron, right? If Kareem were to ever get on television and be like, why y'all leaving me out these talks? Like, I deserve to be in this conversation. I wouldn't view that as hate or resentment because he has an actual case to be made about what he's saying. He's not like talking out of his ass. Like if Kareem was to say he's in the GOAT discussion. You know what I'm saying? Like there's valid reasoning there.
People say that I or others have made Angel Reese the villain. Did you not just hear herself call herself the bad guy? She called herself the villain. I'm not making her the villain.
She said that after it was already established that that's what she was going to be. That's when she said that. It was already established that that is what she was going to be. So she just tried to do the I might as well embrace it thing. It's already established that she was going to be the villain in that story.
She's making herself the villain.
So we have that video there, right? Robert says whatever he needs to say, right? So Ryan Clark responds to RG3 and has this to say. Let me see.
We moved in to being able to read the expressions of a person and know their intent, know their character, know their perspective. But he does understand hate because I think he also understands the hate of self. When you look at the play,
Oh.
which is all we can speak to as professionals, all we can speak to as analysts, Angel Reese pushed one of her teammates. Caitlin Clark had a hard foul, which is part of basketball. I feel like it was assessed correctly. And Angel Reese's reaction is the sort of reaction you get in a situation when you feel like you took an intentionally hard foul. That's competitiveness. That's rivalry. That's not hate. And so now, though, when RG3 jumps on to the hate train or to the angry train, it now follows along with what we saw from Keith Olbermann, what we saw from Dave Portnoy as they poured on to Angel Reese to make her the villain in Caitlin Clark's heroic or hero story.
Right.
The one thing we know about RG3 is he's not having conversations at his home about what Black women have to endure in this country, about what young Black women and athletes like Angel Reese have had to deal with being on the opposite side of Caitlin Clark's rise and ascension into stardom. Now, when you look at it, I think A'ja Wilson is the face of the league. A'ja Wilson is the best player in the league. Caitlin Clark is the most important player in the WNBA. And a ton of her fans.
A'ja Wilson is the best player. I think it's okay if we just say the truth. And Caitlin is the face of the league. Like, I mean, whether you like that or not, it's just the truth. It's unfortunate that A'ja Wilson has this much time dedicated to the sport. She's this good of a basketball player and has the pedigree, has the championships, has the resume and isn't acknowledged as such. But sometimes that face of the league thing it goes where it wants to go out of just organic movement. And unfortunately, Caitlin Clark is the face of the W. Caitlin Clark draws the most views, sells out the most places, drives the most revenue. All of that is evidence of why she's the face of the league. She's not the best player because people correlate the two, right? People think you have to be the best player to be the face. Or if you're the face, you're the best player. And those two things have nothing to do with one another. Most of the time they do, but there are instances where they don't. And this is one of them. A'ja Wilson is the best player in the league. Caitlin Clark is the face of the league.
Fandom has come along with some racial bias or some racial pieces to why people love her so much. And so now, if you're RG3, when is the last time within your household you've had a conversation about what she's dealing with? You haven't been able to do that because in both of your marriages, you've been married to white women. You haven't had opportunities to have those conversations to educate you on what they're feeling, what Black women deal with, what they're seeing when they think of a young Angel Reese. And the whole time that he's mimicking Angel Reese and bobbing his head and moving his neck while he's doing this whole piece, his wife is in the back amening and clapping. And so to me, it's just,
I'm not gonna lie, it it was off putting seeing her in the back. I don't know if that was intentional or not. I don't know who else wife just be in the back of their clips. I've never seen that before. And in particular, when you're now discussing a white and black woman and you're a black man and you just have your white wife in the background again, no, like I'm not saying you can't. That's your household. Y'all do whatever y'all want to do. I'm just saying I can see how that could look away to certain people. Is she in any other clips? If she is, then I mean fairs. Is she regularly in the back? I don't watch RG3 content, so I don't. Oh, they have a pod together. Okay, well then that makes sense. Okay, then that's fair. It's fair. Yeah, then why did she? She ain't got no mic or nothing. She just in the back. I don't know. But again, I don't watch or consume enough RG3 content to make judgments of what he usually does. I'm not a RG3 fan.
Just another situation that now this young lady has to deal with. When I worked with RG3, he would make all of these sort of corny jokes about milk and how much he loved it and how important it was. And he always points out on social media the color of his wife's skin, as if the color of her skin is what makes her special, as if the color of her skin is what makes her a good wife. I've met the lady, I've had a conversation with her. Right. I think she's more than that. But it also leads to what black women deal with a lot from black men who have chose to date or marry outside of their race. They always feel like they have to go the extra mile to prop up the woman that they're married or the woman that they're with over black women by denigrating black women. I feel like we should have an opportunity to move past that and understand that Angel Reese can be great in her own right, as Caitlin Clark is as well. Caitlin Clark is a likable and lovable superstar. She pays homage to the stars of the past. She pays homage to the black women that have come before her. And now she is carrying the mantle forward. So there's no need to pin those two against each other and paint them based on stereotypical tropes. And I think this is what I'd like RG3 to know, that no matter how much he continues to echo the microaggressions of racists, he'll be no less black than me.
Wow. He said a lot there. Let's try to unpack it one piece at a time. Let me pay homage. So I hadn't yet seen this clip, but I did see interactions on Twitter and people going back and forth about did he cross a line talking about his wife, and some people are trying to say no, he didn't. After watching the clip, I do think he did cross a line. He is talking about that man's family. We can't act again. Just because you want to agree and disagree with certain signs doesn't mean we have to be oblivious or just lie. And like he said a lot there about RG3. And he said that I think he said like he can't relate to what a black woman has to endure. Now, mind you, I do believe RG3 has a daughter who then would be black. Is she not like two? I know, but I'm saying he is going to have to know about some of these experiences that black women have to go through because he does have a black daughter. He also, I would assume his mother was black. Was his mother in his life? If his mother was in his life, then he has been in close contact with a black woman. I do want to reject the thought of because his partners are white, he doesn't understand what black women have to go through or something like that. I do kind of want to reject that notion. His father was absent in his life, so he was raised by a single black mother. Is that what you're saying? I don't know. Anywho, I don't want to make it seem like there's a correlation between or those two things are tying together. I do think you can have non-black partners as a black man yet still understand and show empathy with black women and their experiences. I don't want to make it seem like those two things are mutually exclusive. Now, I will say though that I do see what he's saying. I do see what Ryan Clark is coming from. He brought up some work experience he has with Robert, and if Robert is constantly just telling people and reinforcing the idea that he just loves white women, then you would think in an issue as somebody that kind of has that background information and knows him that you already know what type of time he's going to be on when it comes to a situation between an Angel Reese and a Caitlin Clark. So him taking the stance of, well, Angel Reese is da 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 da, or she's jealous and resentful. And like you kind of expect for him to say that if you're Ryan Clark. Do y'all think it's okay for him to speak on his family like that? For those that are saying yes, are you just saying yes because you agree with what he's saying? You don't think it was disrespectful? I do think what he did was disrespectful. I 1000% think what he did was disrespectful. Now again, now there's another conversation of are some things uncomfortably true and some things that can come across as disrespect. Do those things need to be said because it's a tough conversation and dialogue? Sure, that's another conversation. But off rip, just hearing the reply like this was a lie. This was disrespect. This was disrespect to talk about that man family like that. What part? Particularly like, oh, because you have two white women or your partners have been white that you can't or don't understand like a black woman's experience. I think that's disrespect. He doesn't though. But he was raised by a black mother. Maybe his mom had a different experience. We don't know. Also, like we also need to just always remember this that everybody and everything is not a monolith, right? Some black people may have some different experiences than some other black people growing up, different viewpoints, different values they were raised on and stuff like that. So I don't know. I can't speak to how he was raised up and what he grew up on. However, if he was raised by a black woman, then he was around a black woman on a daily basis and saw and lived her experiences because he was there with her. Now again, what all experiences she dealt with and he saw and learned and all of that is one thing, but I don't know if he does, but he could theoretically have black female friends, black women friends. Theoretically. Do I think so? I doubt it. But theoretically he could. Do you disagree that it was disrespectful?
My anger is high, so I'm just not gonna say nothing because I
Hey,
was gonna
listen,
rant about
two
your
things can
chat
be
and you
true.
said not to do that. So
Two things can be true. Real talk. I think you touched on that a little bit, saying that it could be out of bounds to talk about a man's wife, especially when she's not directly involved in the conversation. But it could be a valid point to bring that up, as it does play a part in part of why RG3 thinks the way that he thinks.
That's true. I agree. And so lastly, we do have RG3 responding. Look, you can go look it up on your own. I ain't finna read all this, bruh.
Terrence,
Yo, yo,
hey,
yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy RG3, and I just wanted to get on here and talk to you guys because there's been a lot of buzz, a lot of conversations about my sports take that Angel Reese hates Caitlin Clark, which was purely based in basketball. But I think all of you know there's a line in life.
I don't even know if those two things can be true. You brought up an emotion to a practical thing. You said, my take on her emotion is simply based on a sport that is, I don't know. That's weird. I don't feel like you can make an emotional take based purely in a sport. Or did you even say that she hates her as a basketball player? You didn't say that. You said she hates her, period. So that's not rooted in basketball. But continue.
Cross. Wives and children are always off limits, and Ryan Clark has sprinted past that line. Ryan Clark didn't like my sports take that Angel Reese hates Caitlin Clark, and that's fine. It's okay. It's part of the game. Sports media, I'm gonna have an opinion. This person might not agree with it. That person might not agree with it. But what you don't do is turn around and personally attack me and my family just because you don't agree with a sports opinion that is purely based off the sport. I didn't make it personal. But what that really shows is just how low of a person Ryan Clark is. But Ryan,
You did make it personal for Angel Reese. Now you didn't make it personal towards Ryan. But I would venture to say what you said about Angel Reese was personal.
you crossed the line, man. You made it personal and some. I really believe there should be no space in sports media for personal attacks. I've said it before, but certainly personal attacks against wife and children have always been off limits. Ryan, you attacked me and my family in a public forum on a level that shows just how low of a human being you are. You can disagree with me all you want, challenge my takes, but keep my family and my wife out of it. That's a boundary that should always be respected, man. Always. Ryan Clark personally attacking me and my family because he disagreed with my sports opinion is a bad look for ESPN. It's cowardly. It's spineless.
So now you're gonna bring up that man's place of employment. Look, I do think again, I do agree that Ryan definitely crossed the line. He's trying to harp on this sports opinion point, and to me, that wasn't just solely a sports opinion. A sports opinion about those two are like Angel Reese didn't shoot the ball well, and then I can provide some evidence she was 3 of 12. Like that's a sports take. That's a your take was she hates Caitlin Clark. That's not a basketball driven take. So your original statement already muddied the waters in the fields that we were in because it in fact was not a sports take. It was a personal take about how one person felt about another. And then to support your claim, you brought up non-basketball incidents. You're bringing up quotes from sound bites and what they were doing at the White House after the game. All of that is not on a basketball court. So your original take wasn't a basketball take.
Spineless. And it's weak. Ryan Clark personally attacking me and my family. Personally, because he disagreed with my sports opinion is a bad look for him as a man.
Oh man. I mean, he can respond however he chooses to respond. More so past these two in their drama. I'm somebody who's like I'm back into women's basketball, right? I was more so into it when I was a kid growing up because I had a cousin that actually was an All-American. We went to a lot of her games. I followed the sport heavily then. She stopped playing. I kind of got up out of it. But coincidentally enough, I kind of called Angel Reese and that LSU because I'm down here in Houston. So the South, they were making like some real noise down here. Like people were paying attention to them. So I started getting back into the W more and more, or women's basketball because of Angel Reese personally. So that's why I also argue about like that popularity and who making sure other lead figures and influencers are getting their just due because me personally, I didn't become a fan again because of Caitlin Clark. I like truthfully didn't. I did because of Angel Reese and that LSU team. So I'm my own proof that she is in fact bringing fans to the sport and rising the popularity of it. But anyway, I say all that to say this. I do not want for every WNBA season to turn into think pieces and just a whole bunch of drama that is unnecessary to still shine light to the sport. Every incident between these two doesn't need for people to end up talking, for media figures to start talking about people's households and stuff. Like it really doesn't. I want to highlight how good these women are as basketball players because they are really good. Kaylin Clark is a generational player. Angel Reese, whether some people like it or not, is a really good basketball player. And people try to act like she's not. There's also something that's like, can she be better at making layups? Absolutely. We all know this. Like, cool. We everybody can get that joke off. Angel Reese is one of the better W players in the league, and was that in her rookie season. So that's another thing that needs to stop acting like Angel Reese not good at the sport. She's one of the best players in the league, respectfully. I just don't want the W like discourse to always be about drama and race wars and like separating like I'm good off that. I'm really good off that. And the people that are going to drive this are going to be people like Robert Griffin III and people who use that kind of stuff to fuel content and everything for them on a regular basis. Like, I won't be surprised if this is a thing for him focusing on Caitlin Clark during the W. I know a few people who have hitched their wagon to the I'm just gonna be a Caitlin Clark stand no matter what. She's always right. I'm always gonna say it's just everything Caitlin. And I know other people that are doing that for Angel. Fair enough. Fair enough. It is happening on both sides. But like it just turns into nastiness and toxicity in a sport that we're trying to grow and uplift and be seen in a positive light. You know what I'm saying? Everything don't have to be drama this, drama that, think piece this, summary of that. Like let them ladies go out there and hoop, bruh. Like goodness gracious. Let them ladies go out there and hoop. They the best in the world. I want to see them being excellent in their craft. What's up,
And
Mario?
if she gets serious, I can stop trolling, right?
Oh.
Hello?
Um, I'm proud of myself. Like I said earlier in the chat, I did a great job of not feeding into all of that mess on Twitter. I said what I didn't really involve myself in it. Even though I saw the tweets, I got
Right, right.
angry. Didn't really get my full take on it until this chat, but agree. We just gotta ignore it as best as we can. Try not to draw too much attention to those type of incidents because that's what those people want. And I'm not about to let the talent of other ladies go unnoticed because of the stands. I'm not doing it.
Amen to that. Oh, can I say something real quick, real talk?
Yeah.
And it's gonna come from a selfish place. Now, when people make jokes and troll about me being a Celtics fan and what the niggas in Boston have done historically to the players of that franchise, and we see people voluntarily hitch their wagons and be fans of Caitlin Clark, knowing full and well the people who also hitch their wagons on Caitlin Clark. I don't know. Maybe I should start trolling back. I don't know. I don't know. I don't
About
know.
what? Her fans being a certain demographic.
Yeah, apparently, that's they say about my team. They say all Boston fans are this. Maybe I should all Caitlin Clarks are this. Maybe I should say that. It's all fair game, right? And if it gets too serious, I'm just trolling. I'm not being serious. Right?
I mean, I guess I see what you're like saying. However, I would argue that like all of the tropes and stuff that Celtics and Celtic fans get, I
It's
think
deserved. Deserved, right?
no, not just that, but I'm saying like as of now, it's not at a like a serious point. You know what I'm saying? There's not like serious contention there. Whereas
Right, right, right.
obviously with this Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, or just Caitlin Clark in her fan base period, or how they're being viewed, I think is a much like more serious matter right now.
Yeah, so I can't make jokes because it'd be too
I'm
deep.
not saying you can't make
I
jokes.
don't know.
But I'm saying you're trying to like draw like the correlation between Celtics fans get trolled, so
Wait, so it's worse.
Caitlin Clark
So it's
fans,
worse.
which is true. Like yeah, they can get trolled, but I'm saying like
Don't get it twisted.
why is
There's a
it
lot of
you also kind of presented like why is it viewed differently or whatever? And I'm saying it's because like
some people in their
this Caitlyn
minds
thing is
view
like
them differently.
fresher, it's newer, it's
Some people in their minds view them as
relevant
different things. They view them. I don't know why. Some people in their minds view them as different, not even similar. But wait, is it low key worse being
between
Caitlin Clark?
Celtic fans and Caitlin Clark. What
Some people think that that being a Celtics fan is something you can make a joke about. Like someone being. But then a Caitlin Clark fan, you're not necessarily that. They can understand the nuance of being a CC fan, but not in it being a Celtics fan, even if they're just trolling about it, right? Quote unquote trolling.
are you like are you just complaining right now? I mean,
Listen, I'm trying to get my troll back. I'm not gonna lie.
um,
I need to bounce up ideas, make sure the troll makes sense. You know what I'm saying? I need to make sure it makes sense.
let me last clip we'll watch.
It's all a troll. It's
Okay,
all a
I
troll.
can't believe I'm ranting about this again, but everyone's still talking. Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, racism. Ryan Clark made a video attacking RG3 the other day. In the process, name dropped me and Keith Olbermann, which is the biggest insult of all time. Like, don't ever put me in the same sentence with Keith Olbermann. Guy's a certified jackass.
When RG3 jumps on to the hate train or to the angry train, It now follows along with what we saw from Keith Olbermann, what we saw from Dave Portnoy as they poured on to Angel Reese to make her the villain.
You have race baiters on the left, race baiters on the right, everybody trying to make this rivalry about race, race, race. And yes, I'm sure there are some black people who hate Caitlyn just because she's white. I'm sure there's white people who hate Angel just because she's black. But I want to speak for what I feel is Caitlin Clark fans, and not just flyby. I've been following Caitlin now 3-4 years, seen every single one of her games, followed the WNBA, all of it, followed Angel Reese. And the way Ryan Clark just drops my name like hate, that like Caitlin Clark fans or Fever fans or Iowa Hawkeye fans don't have a right or a reason to hate Angel Reese like she's a victim out of the clouds just because of the color of their skin is infuriating. Caitlyn fans have every reason to hate Angel Reese. And I say hate in like the sports sense, like you hate your rival. I hated Peyton Manning. Red Sox fans hate Yankee fans. Fever fans, Caitlyn fans should hate Angel Reese. Angel Reese has been nothing but an instigator, agitator, and jackass, basically, for the last couple of years. Yes, it started in the NCAA final, which we all saw when Angel, no one even knew who she was at this point, taunted and her.
See, that's line. That's you're lying. You just lying. And see, there.
It's
And
not
this is why I
personal
act how
though.
I do. This is
It's not
why I act
personal.
how
This
I
is why, like, race, race do just be a part of the conversation. As uncomfortable as that conversation is, and as much as people try to act like, oh, it's not that big of a deal, or we're trying to like, for you and y'all, maybe y'all didn't know who Angel Reese was. We knew who Angel Reese was already. Especially again, maybe it's regional because I'm down here in the South. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I knew who Angel Reese was prior to her playing Caitlin Clark because we were already following that LSU team. We already knew who Angel Reese was.
And harassed Caitlyn for like 10 to 15 to 20 seconds after the championship is over, pointing at the finger.
Can y'all hear?
Yeah.
yeah.
Doing this thing to her, stalking her up and down the court. She taunted, and her all saw when Angel, no one even knew who she was at this point, taunted and harassed Caitlyn for like 10 to 15 to 20 seconds after the championship is over, pointing at the finger, doing this thing to her, stalking her up and down the court. To this day, I've asked many people, show me an example of a player winning a championship and acting like that. Zero examples except Angel Reese. And I know what I heard Stephen A say.
Stalking, harassing. I mean, we come on. We we get what you're doing, bud.
And I heard people, well, that's what Caitlyn used to do. It's just a taste of her own medicine. That's just a myth. That's a lie. That never happened. You may be able to find a clip of Caitlyn doing this to after hitting a shot or going back down the court or even to her trainer. Never stalking another player. Every clip that has Caitlin Clark doing that or doing something, it's 1 second long and then conveniently cut. Find me the whole circumstance which you say Caitlyn acted like Angel Reese. Never happened. If that was the only incident, this thing's probably dead. But Angel Reese has doubled down, tripled down, quadrupled down, actually built her entire persona about being like Caitlyn's rival, even though talent-wise they're not in the same stratosphere.
That is not her whole persona. That's how you and your people engage with her. That is not her whole persona. Again, she's not having deals and meals with McDonald's because people don't like her or, oh, that's the girl that doesn't like Caitlin Clark. That's not how she's getting that done. I promise you.
But you name it, and Angel Reese has done it, whether it's after Kennedy Carter knocked Caitlyn down on that cheap shot and Angel jumped off the bench doing the lambada, whether Angel Reese has gone on social media and liked other posts of people being like, the only reason people like Caitlyn is she's white and all Caitlyn fans are racist. Yes, she likes shit like that online.
I'm about to say another uncomfortable truth, okay? You ready? I need everybody to like understand this. Not all Caitlin Clark fans are racist. However, all races, most races that are fans of the W are probably Caitlin Clark fans. I know that's uncomfortable, and yeah, that is sky blue. But for some people, it needs to be said. It just needs to be said. Again, I'm going to repeat it. Not all Caitlin Clark fans are racist. However, a lot of fans of the W that are racist are Caitlin Clark fans. Also, I don't think this is of her doing. I also want to make that be known because people try to like blame this on Caitlyn, and I don't think that's fair. She's spoken out against this multiple times. She actually bigs up the W legends all the time, who are obviously historically black. Like I don't think it's the fault. It's any fault of her own at all. Really, I really don't. So I don't want to come across as that either. But at the same time, the truth is just the truth. Like it just kind of is what it is. And again, she has no fault of that. But that's the truth. And to try to act ignorant to that is I just think that's kind of being oblivious. Now, a lot of people will say that there are some Angel Reese fans that don't like Caitlin Clark just because Caitlin Clark's white. Fair. I think the ratio is a bit different. I will say that. I think the ratio is a bit different between the two in that said category, between the two fan bases. And again, I think sometimes it is seen when a black person points out an inconsistency for that they're seeing in favor for a white person. I don't think that that is hatred or jealousy towards that said white person, is more so just towards the circumstance. So I do think a lot of times like Angel Reese fans will be speaking out against something, and maybe something that is favoring Caitlin Clark at that. And because Caitlin Clark fans react to it like, oh, you just hate Caitlin Clark. No, they're probably going against a situation that just so happens to have Caitlin like bolstered out of, right? But it's not Caitlin. It's the what the situation is that just so happens to be favoring Caitlin Clark. But again, I will be fair. There are definitely some Angel Reese fans that do not like Caitlyn just because she's white.
How about when you're asked a question at a press conference and Angel Reese is like, people aren't just watching for Caitlyn, they're watching for me. This is my league.
I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that.
How about after Angel
Again, that's not hate. And she's right.
Reese whacked her in the head with a flagrant foul after the game, being like, some people get a special whistle, I guess.
Going back and looking at the film, I've seen a lot of calls that weren't made. I guess some people got a special whistle.
It's just literally
calls that weren't made. So I don't think that was about that specific call. So you just use that clip all out of context. I'm probably 1,000% sure.
one thing after another, culminating in the other night when a clear, like, take foul that shouldn't have been a flagrant, and Angel gets up and basically attacks Caitlin Clark. What has Caitlin Clark said about Angel or ever been, like, rude? Nothing. She just lets her play speak for itself on the court. So spare me the race.
Yeah, attacks. Yeah, she attacked. Yeah. Again, this is somebody who's got his head so far up Caitlin's ass that he's swallowing the shit she hasn't shat yet, right? And of course, there's going to be people like that. Again, I already said there's going to be people like this from both fan bases. Anybody that watches that video, and in particular, once you get like that behind like view, you can see she pushed that girl to the ground, bruh. She pushed that girl to the ground, bruh. She fouled originally. Hard foul. Cool foul though. She proceeded to then nudge Angel to the ground. That is what happened. That is what happened. That's why she got up like that. Okay, I got a foul. Cool. That little push. Oh, you okay? What's up? What's up?
Race narrative for 99% of Caitlin Clark fans. If you root for a player, and I became a Caitlin fan because I had never seen a female basketball player, black or white, play like she does. Pull up from the logo three, dimes all over the court, like eyes in the back of the head. It has nothing to do with the color of her skin. There's been tons of white superstars. None of them have captivated a country like Caitlyn has. You have what? Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird, Sabrina, now Paige Buchers. None of them do what Caitlyn do. None of them play like Caitlyn do. So that's why she's so popular. And the jealousy that, or the hatred that, yes, Angel Reese has towards her and has consistently shown, makes Caitlyn fans hate her. And in things like the other night, why is Caitlin Clark being asked about racism? What does she have to do? She has never said one thing racist. Her fans just love her. But if you have one player who's constantly...
So you skipped over why she's getting asked that. Number one, wasn't it reported or something that some racial epithets were thrown at Angel Reese during the game? Didn't the W have to come out with a statement or something? So I don't really know. Like, again, you skipped over that as to why she's being asked. You know what I'm saying? She's being asked because apparently something happened. And also, mind you, Angel is not the only black player that said they dealt with this in when they play Indiana in Indiana. She's not the only one. She is not the only one. So again, not all of her fans are racist. But if we're gonna be ignorant and like she played at Iowa, right? Currently in Indiana, right? These places don't have the most black people in the world, and that's just reality.
poking at you, constantly prodding, constantly degrading you, constantly doing these things, yes, you're going to fucking hate her. It has nothing to do with the color of the skin. I'm sick of the Ryan Clarks. I'm sick of Stephen A's. I'm sick of ESPN making it a race issue. You have a superior basketball player who is constantly has someone below taking shots at them, won't shut up, and then plays the victim. She said she wanted to be the villain. She's like, I'll be the villain. I'll be the bad guy. It's made her rich. It's made her...
Again, after y'all already crowned her the villain, she already became, she just publicly acknowledged what y'all had already put on her. That's it. I hate that. I wish he wouldn't have said that. Because now it get these niggas this type of like dumbass point they be trying to make with that. Y'all had already crowned her the villain. She was already being portrayed as the villain. So stop doing that. We saw them reports about the LSU team and how they were talked about during that tournament. That UCLA are like, come on, bro.
Popular. If she didn't have Caitlyn, nobody would know who she is. If Caitlyn didn't have Angel, it would be the same popularity for Caitlyn. So can you please stop with the victim and the race? There's a reason Caitlyn fans have that we don't like Angel Reese, and it's fair. It's sports. Rivalries are fine. But every time they play, the reason we don't like her is racism? No, it's because she's been a jackass for the last 3 years.
And she's been a jackass. What else he called her? Whatever else he said during the video. We know who this is. We know these types. We know these type of men. I already know what he thinks politically. I don't even have to look anything up. I already know. It's very unfortunate when like some people are just exactly the stereotype that you think of them. That's unfortunate because you don't want to believe in stereotypes. And you don't want to judge people on stereotypes. But we see you. You know what I'm saying? We see you, and I know enough about this guy's background and some other statements and comments he's made. This isn't just from this particular clip, so I just want that to be known too. We know who this is. But again, to on a final note, Caitlin Clark, like as he did say, is an unbelievable basketball player, generational basketball player. I do think here very soon she'll be the best player in the league. I think she'll usurp Asia Wilson soon. Probably not this year, but in the next few years, I can definitely see that happening. Great player, deserves all the hoopla, deserves all the praise. She's carrying a torch for women's basketball, carrying it well, in my opinion. However, to try to act as if that some of her part of her fan base is exactly who we think we are would be foolish. I'm not going to act oblivious to that. Part of her fan base is exactly who we think they are. They are. You don't. And as many times as y'all try to go on camera and act like they aren't, a portion of them, they are. It's unfortunate. It's a reality that we've dealt with for a long time in sports. It's very unfortunate. In 2025, we're still here. And also, again, for Angel, there are a subsection of her fans that are probably prejudiced towards Kaylin Clark because Kaylin's white. That's also unfortunate because you're missing out on appreciating one of the best women's players ever. That's what Kaylin Clark is. She's one of the best women's basketball players ever. Yeah. And so hopefully we can get to a point to where the talk around her and Angel Reese isn't about race or who's doing what to who pushed who down. What does that mean if they pushed them down? Oh, they hate, they jealous, they did like. Hopefully, at some point, it's just about how great of players these two women are. Those are my thoughts on that. Great video. Good video. Again, if you need any links to follow me on anything, check the description. In the description, you can see the link to my Twitter, TikTok, and make sure that you click that playback link to my room so you can follow. We are starting to stream W games and streaming the NBA playoffs, the conference finals. We are turning up the W support mightily once the NBA season concludes. But until next time, it's been real.